Hey YouTube, it is me, Raina. And before I start talking about what I'm talking about, trigger warning for, sexual assault and abuse. Just want to get that before I talk about the subject matter. If you or anyone you know is going through this, I would highly suggest you reach out to friends and family, or if you don't feel comfortable with that, reach out to any organization that you would like to. That's all I can offer. I wanted to give you that before I talk about the subject matter. So I'm going to talk about Skam España Season 3 and how they've done this great unraveling and insidious way of doing a toxic relationship when it's being shown to a younger audience and when it's being portrayed by the younger actors. So if you don't know what Skam España is, it's one of the many remakes of the original Norwegian teen show by the same name, but called Skam, which means shame in Norwegian. And all these remakes are based off the original first 4 seasons. Basically, each 4 season is told from one singular character's point of view, how they see things, their way through their life. They come through complications and really life-changing moments. And there's great transmedia that goes into it when it comes to Instagram and Facebook and sometimes Twitter. So now Skam España is in the Nora season. It's based off the original Nora season, but they're doing their own take on it, and not only their own take, but a very different and interesting take. Like I said, toxic relationships. So with this season, it caught people off guard, including me, because I thought we were getting the love story that we have in the OG. I'm going to refer to the original Skam show as the OG, which is original, basically. So with this one, we see with Nora, she's headstrong. She thinks of herself as a feminist. She doesn't want anything to do with anything like Alejandro, who is based off of the William character, who is this quote unquote bad boy, sleeps around all the girls, has a very, reputation, if you may say. And so basically at the first 2 seasons, you kind of see a push and pull with them. In season 2, they end up coming to an even ground. And at the beginning of this season, they start dating each other. But once again, that push and pull keeps happening because she only sees him as what he once was, even though he has grown from that. But Alejandra doesn't have the best communication skills. So in comes a childhood friend of Nora's who she known before she moved to Madrid in season 1, Miguel. And, Miguel is the classic, handsome guy, treats Nora well, takes her on dates, thinks of her, whatever. But as time goes by, you start seeing these red flags. And now we're in a moment where he has forced Nora to block Alejandro on social media, block him forever, basically isolating her. She's very down. If you go to her YouTube channel, Nora Grace, you see she does these covers of these songs. The first cover that she did was called God is a Woman. And the most recent cover she did was Make Me, which is a very sad song by Noah Cyrus, which I did not know. I think it's a really good song, but you see where she once was and see where she is now, and it's night and day. The girl looks just completely down and just it's really hard to watch this young girl, this character go through this, and but anyway, I just want to talk about how teen shows, how this is showing how young teens should, not cope, but, see the symptoms of a friend being abused or manipulated or gaslighted or something wrong with their friend. And seeing this for a young audience is so important because so often when it comes to fiction, whether it be in movies, TV shows, or whatever, the classic good-looking guy like a Miguel or whatever who treats girls like this or romanticized or given a reason. Like even in the OG, William is given a reason of, his family's like this, but really he's just a straight-up a-hole through all the way through, and nothing else is going to convince me. I'm going to put a video in the description that gives a very in-depth look at the original Nora season and what went on there, if you don't want any spoilers, and try to compare it with Skam España I'm going to do that. But the original one that explains the problems with the original Nora season, I'm going to put in the description so you can get what I'm getting at. But the season not over yet, but where we're getting to, I'm really scared for the character still. Is very tense. And I just really love the slow progression, because at first I was kind of like, where is this going? It's going to be a love triangle. Does she have to choose? Like, what's going on? But now that we see what they're doing, and now that the producers are talking about it, that I know what their original tension is, I'm really intrigued now that we've gotten to this point, even though the character is suffering, and I hate seeing, this character suffer. I understand what their point is with this season, because all season long, they have been paralleling Nora and Miguel to Nora and William. Their first date, where they're manipulating Nora, but on different subjects, but still manipulating. Trying to pressure her into sleeping with them. In the OG, when everything is said and done, in the final episode, they do have sex. And he says, I would ask you if you're ready, but I don't care. Which is not romantic. I think it's supposed to be a joke, but still, that's disgusting, considering what that character went through. And in this one, they did consent, but she felt like she had to have sex with him just because she felt that she was behind her peers, and he was getting handsy with her. Now, mind you, they had their first kiss a week before this, and he's already saying, I love you. It feels a lot of pressure. It's not forceful pressure, but it's still pressure. And when it comes to her admitting what happened on the night she did get drunk, she tells him straight up, nothing happened. I already talked with Alejandro. Nothing happened. And he called her, either called her a slut or a whore or a bitch or whatever the translation is. He called her out her name. She looked sad. He made her cry on her birthday. It's just so horrible. He has slowly manipulated this girl into thinking that she is the perpetrator. He constantly, compares her to his ex, and it's just terrible. And even though in the OG, William was never this overbearing with Nora, still the attitude is there, even when the time when it came to confess on what happened when she got drunk, she said she didn't know, but he still, was mad and pissed off at her and walked away from her and didn't answer her at all when it came to her text. And it was just terrible because she went through something that was horrible. In the original, by this point, the original Nora was sexually assaulted by his brother, and she didn't know if she was actually raped or anything. And for her to not have, she has her girl support, but, through the whole entire season, he's like trying to prove himself and she's trying to prove herself. And it's just so terrible in how he treats her. And comparing it to here, it's putting a spin on that particular, not only the character of William, but the whole entire season, of how that type of attitude and that type of toxicity should not be romanticized, should not be the main focal of a season to be rewarded to the guy character. It should be look on the magnifying glass to be like, no, this is what it really is right here. This is actually what that means. And I just love that they are doing that, and they are putting out all the stops and saying like, no, that type of character, the type of male character should not be celebrated. It should not be romanticized. It should be looked at for what it is, and it should be dissected, and it should be pointed out and be like, this is problematic. We should not be doing this. And I love that. And that's what Skam fans for a long time, when it came to the original William character, is that he is just so unhealthy for Nora, and her identity becomes him, even when it's not even her season. We all know what happens later on in the show, but it's just so overbearing and so unhealthy. And I'm loving that they're putting that under a magnifying glass of in Skam España and being like, look at Miguel. He's kind of similar to William, not in the womanizing way, but in the attitude and how he acts. And it's like, no, this is how it is. It should not be pivoted, or the writer shouldn't try to turn it around a certain way to seem as, oh, feel sorry for him, or oh, be romantic. And people who are not empathizing with Nora are saying that, oh, she should be, not with him and she should break up with them. People clearly have not been watching this season because they've been turned off by it. But if you don't see the manipulation in what he says to her, that is so vital. That's what abusers do. They use by any means necessary to have their victim under their spell, under their control. And it was evident in this most recent clip when he is forcing her to delete Alejandro basically from her life. And he wants to take her to Rome, Italy to get away and be alone with her. Like, sure. And it's just being downtrodden. And I just really am kind of intrigued. I won't say excited because I don't like seeing this girl suffer. It's really uncomfortable and uneasy to watch. But I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen in these last few episodes and how they kind of resolve some of this stuff up. So what are your thoughts on Skam España Season 3? Did it go the way you're expecting? Are you more intrigued now that you know where the story is going? I know I am, now that I have a finite feel on this season. Leave your comments down below, and bye, YouTube.